Hello, everybody. Nicholas Snow here, and this is the Snowstorm, a nightly hot topics panel discussion show that is about saving democracy and more. And in this week, we have a former president who seems to think that he has the right to complete immunity and that presidents should be able to assassinate their political rivals with impunity. Huh? So I have exciting guests coming up. Robert Karl and Wyatt O'Brien Evans will be joining the Topics panel discussion to discuss the continuing outrageous and still jaw-dropping behavior of Donald J. Trump and his co-conspirators in his efforts to overthrow democracy. And if you haven't noticed, those efforts are ongoing. So that is definitely what's coming up. Now, for those of you that might be new to the show, I wanted you to know that if you are watching live and have a question or comment, it may be featured on the screen just like this. Unless you are watching on Instagram, I cannot curate remarks from Instagram Live into the broadcast, but I can see them over here, and I see that Danny B92 has joined, so thank you for watching. Also, I want to thank new superstars. The PromoHomo.TV superstars are people who donate a minimum of $3 a month to make the show happen. And Russ Ramirez is a new Sticker Squad member. Aaron Terry has upgraded to the Skip a Latte Club. David Oliveras has become a Pride Parader. And Rock May is a new associate producer. And you can go to patreon.com/PromoHomo.TV for information on how to do that. If you're watching, if you somehow at some point see my show on Facebook, which is really challenging, I want you to know the best thing for you to do is go, did I hear? Yes, go here. Go to youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV network, because YouTube doesn't let you know if I go live, if I'm streaming into Facebook. If I go live within Facebook, only in Facebook, they might let you know. But as a rule, Facebook will not let you know that I've just gone live in Facebook. So please jump on over to YouTube and follow me there. And with that, we have a really interesting show. Wyatt is a regular on the Snowstorm, and Robert is brand new to the show, but not new to Wyatt. And we have some conversation about to happen up in here. PromoHomo TV is all about empowering you, our communities, and our world. Shouting out to my media partners. Pink Media, amplifying PromoHomo TV across the Twitterverse with their #ILoveGay campaign. GayDesertGuide.lgbt. And KGay 1065 Palm Springs, available worldwide. Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY. It's as simple as this. We will save our democracy in 2024, or we will watch the United States implode. I'm Nicholas Snow, and this crisis we face is why I have launched the Snowstorm, a nightly hot topics panel discussion show in which I will curate your social media comments into the show, and we will connect the conversation to action we can take to save America.
Watch the Snowstorm nightly at 6 p.m. Pacific at PromoHomo.TV.
And you're looking at over 6 feet of snow right now. And if you hadn't figured it out, I am a hopeful sexual. More about that later in the show. So arguably, that's a 4-syllable word. Wyatt O'Brien Evans is the quintessential Renaissance man. He's a journalist, author, radio personality, and his new novel, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart, Shattered, is out and about, and Wyatt is his podcast, which airs on Spotify and at the Wyatt O'Brien Evans YouTube channel. And his new season launches this coming Saturday. For point of reference, this is coming to you on Thursday, January 11th. So his new show is launching this Saturday. Go to WyattEvans.com, Wyatt with two T's. Robert A. Karl, M.Ed. I think that's a Master of Education. I'll let him tell me. I just sound intelligent. I'm not really intelligent. Is a native son of Philadelphia, a queer author, an independent publisher, an advocate for LGBTQ plus rights, and a gay entrepreneur. That makes three of us on the show tonight. Robert wrote his first novel, Clubbed, a story of gay love, trials, tribulations, and triumphs. While quarantining during the COVID-19 pandemic, I was in this chair right here during the most of the pandemic. He also launched the online community-focused store, Club Pride, dealing with the absence of pride items as he saw it. And for more information, you can go to robertkarlauthor.com, Karl with a K, and clubpride.org. And without further delay, I think we should bring these guys onto the show and get the snow on the road. Welcome, guys.
Hey, Nicholas and Robert, how are you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing great here, and it's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Well, it's great to have you. Now, speaking of here, Wyatt, where is here?
I'm in Metro Washington.
And Robert, where is here?
I'm in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I just want to say I'd much rather be on the snowstorm than in a snowstorm. We never get snow here, never.
I'm so jealous.
You know, there are a lot of people that have wanted to be on this snowstorm, but that's another story.
I'm happy to be on the snowstorm, yes.
Oh! Oh my goodness. I don't know how we can keep track of everything that's going on. So we have earlier in the week, Donald Trump's legal team advocating for the rights of a sitting president to assassinate a political rival and avoid prosecution if they resign the next day to avoid impeachment and conviction. And then today we have in the civil trial in New York regarding the inflation of the Trump properties, and I don't have to say alleged because it's been proven in court that the Trump organization committed fraud, and Trump spoke at that trial today and evidently disregarded everything that the judge told him to do, and then he came out and started lying again. So there's just so much going on. Wyatt, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Nicholas, Robert, there's so much going on. What's on my mind right now is that Chris Christie has bowed out. And it's sort of funny, and then it's certainly sad. It's sad because he was really the only sane Republican in the race. And he was the only one who was really not afraid to take on Donald Trump. It's sort of funny because he has been everywhere. He took up residence in MSNBC, for example. He was on The View. He was here. He was there trying to make his case. And sometimes he looked sort of desperate. So it's sort of funny, sort of sad, but he was the only, if there's a sane Republican in the race, he was it.
Well, he was definitely the only one willing to call out Donald Trump, and
Yes.
he's been quoted within the last 2 days, stating that if you're someone that pledged that you would support the election of Donald Trump, even if he were convicted, that disqualifies you from being president. Of course, referring to both DeSantis and Haley.
Right.
What would you like to add, Robert?
Well, what's on my mind is the reaction to members in Congress to what has been going on. And I was watching some of the hearings in the last few days. And in particular, I would point out there's a Senator Schatz from Hawaii who took to the floor today and said about this whole thing about political assassinations, this story is too big to ignore. And I agree. This cannot be swept under the rug. We cannot say, oh, Donald's being a clown, he's just joking. His lawyers are actually in court arguing that he should be allowed to assassinate his rivals. And not only Democrats would be included here, I keep envisioning that, when Mike Pence refused to obey Trump's orders on January the 6th, and people were chanting, hang Mike Pence, he's basically saying, well, gee, I would have had the right to hang Mike Pence. And isn't that an outrage? So this senator said this story is too big to ignore. I agree, and we need to keep talking about this, and Democrats need to hammer it home. And I also want to mention one of my other favorite people in Congress is Representative Jamie Raskin, who's a Democrat from Maryland, and he speaks so eloquently about this. And he pointed out that this whole idea of, a president would have to be impeached and convicted before he could be prosecuted. Jamie Raskin said, well, what's to stop him from just assassinating a few senators in order to make sure he can never be convicted? So this is what is on my mind. This concerns me greatly, and I am very, very upset about this turn of events.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Sure. I'm really no fan of Liz Cheney, but she was on The View the other day and talking about her new book that spent 2-3 weeks at #1. I think it sold at least 500,000 copies at this point. She was saying that we are sleepwalking to a dictatorship. I mean, Trump is telling us what he's going to do beforehand. His speech now is Hitler-esque. And I never ever thought that we would get to this point. And it's like so many of us have been, it's like we're under anesthesia. We don't have feelings anymore. It's like anything this fool says, Trump, anything outrageous that he says, okay, well, so what?
Desensitized to it.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And if we don't change our paths, we will be slow walking into a dictatorship.
Well, yes. I mean, it seems to me like we are, and that we have to stop it. And I'm so surprised, and I've talked about this with my guests, that the pundits and the journalists and the panelists and all of the people, on all the major networks are saying that people aren't really paying attention to the polls right now, and when they're getting up, they're not thinking of the election. I I I started this show because I'm worried about the election, and I want to do everything I can to keep these issues at the forefront. So, I mean, I realize that many people in their lives have huge challenges that they are struggling with, and not everyone has the luxury of paying attention to the news. Other people, for their own mental health, may have decided not to pay attention to the news, but there's so much at stake. Our democracy is at stake. My health care is at stake. It's just a really frightening time to be in the United States, especially when we're many, many, many years into people accepting, embracing, and celebrating the disillusion of the concept of facts and the horrific behavior of their cult leader.
It's amazing to me the number of people who embrace the idea of authoritarianism in the United States. I really find it shocking that these people are like, when Trump is saying to a crowd of people, I'm going to be a dictator, they're cheering. I don't understand it. But of a bigger concern to me are the people who don't care. There are many, many millions of people who care deeply about democracy. There's an unknown number of people, in my mind, who favor authoritarianism. It's a larger number than I ever would have guessed, but I guess we'll see in November. But the big question mark to me is how many people are willing to sit out and not participate in making this decision. And that could be the deciding factor. Just like we saw the deciding factor in 2016 with people voting for third-party candidates, and then Trump got in there for that reason, because no one was more shocked than I was that Donald Trump won. Let me tell you, my jaw was on the floor. I never, ever expected that to happen. I was convinced that Hillary should win and could win and would win, and she didn't. So
I was at an election night party when that happened, and oh my gosh. So Rock says desensitize is the correct word.
Right.
Donald has always been Donald. He is always preemptive his motives, and he's not going to stop until we stop him. And my buddy Jorge Soria Faust says, what can we do now to make sure he is not reelected in November? I'm going to share some thoughts on that, Jorge, after a quick break. I want to just acknowledge over on Instagram Live, I cannot curate your comments onto my screen, but we have I Am Mikey, Eric Tan, Dante, Casey Alva, my friend CJ, Warren with Means, Beige Holland, and more over on Instagram Live. Just love the multimedia interaction that we're getting.
absolutely.
So, gentlemen, after the break, I want to actually find out what you're doing in your lives to save democracy. Jorge, if you're still engaged with the show, comment about what you might be doing and what advice you're getting, and I'll share my thoughts. But I just want everyone who's viewing this to know that I'm committed to continuing to find more and more guests that can help answer that precise question. And the snowstorm will continue after this. And maybe it will become a blizzard of global proportions. This particular shirt is the crux of the Hopeful Sexual campaign, and it is designed to inspire authentic human connection while simultaneously combating sexuality-based shame and stigma. And the really cool thing is, if you go to hopefulsexual.com, it takes you to an Amazon store where this shirt is available in all sorts of styles, sizes, and colors. And I use the revenue to fund PromoHomo.TV. So check it out. I think almost everyone is a hopeful sexual, don't you?
It's cold.
Snow. It's getting deep up in here. Jorge and others, all of us are asking, what can we do to keep Trump from being reelected? And I'm going to just start by saying that I have created a nightly television show broadcasting across multiple social media channels, and then within minutes of the end of this broadcast is then distributed to multiple podcast apps, including Spotify, Apple, and many others. I can't even remember them all, but I'm there now. And I'm connected to people that are very connected. I mean, I'm 2 degrees of separation from many Congress people and other major movers and shakers. And I have been reaching out. I have a contact in LA. I want to give a shout out to my friend Lindsay. She knows who she is. But I'm in the process of letting people know this show exists, and I'm recruiting people to this show. Ellie Kay was on this week. She is the political director of the Democratic Party of the Desert here. And her answer to the question is make sure you're registered to vote, make sure your registration is up to date, and make sure that you do vote. She also advised against changing your party to vote in early elections for Donald Trump because there are Democrats in those early elections that need your vote. So she doesn't want you to sacrifice the ability to vote for Democrats on the ticket so you can go and vote for one of Trump's Republican competitors. So that's one of the things she said. So Wyatt, your turn.
Well, first of all, Nicholas, I'm so glad that you created this show because a snowstorm is a very important show at a very important time. Too many of us don't know our history. You know, we're so immersed in social media, which is wonderful, but we need to know our history because the history influences what happens in the present and the future. And we need to know that. I know that what I'm going to do with my Wyatt podcast.
Perfect timing.
Yes, new season starts on Saturday at the Wyatt O'Brien Evans channel and Spotify. I know that as the year progresses, I'm going to be doing more political shows as well because we have to continue to raise awareness and try to get the real message, the real facts out there because there's so much misinformation and disinformation out there. And people are very, very confused. So the bottom line, too, is that we have to vote. We just collectively have to vote. We can't sit this one out. It's just too important. Too important.
Robert?
Critical.
I watched the show with Ellie, and I really appreciated the advice that she gave. I thought she was really on point. I do want to say that I'm at a disadvantage because living in Puerto Rico, I'm disenfranchised.
Oh.
And when I moved here in 2016, I lost my right to vote in federal elections. And this to me is, don't get me started on the whole colonization thing because I'll go off on a tangent. But some people sometimes say to me, well, you know, talk to me when you pay US taxes. And my reply to that is, I do pay US taxes. So I am the epitome, I am the face of taxation without representation. But that's my situation. I can't change that. I can't vote in the election, but that doesn't mean that I can't have a voice, and I'm going to have a strong voice, as strong as I can. So I'm active on social media and in particular on Twitter. Right. I have no problem talking about my political views. They are well known there. I just say what I think and what I believe, and I retweet people who are saying important things.
What is your handle on X?
Karl, Karl. I'm one of the very first people that were on Twitter, but I hated it so much when it first started because it was like a crazy. So I basically didn't use it for like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years. And then I jumped on it when I started promoting my first book. And then I found that it's also very useful for expressing politics. So it's just R. Karl, no numbers, no
Well,
nothing.
it's on the screen. See how I did that?
Oh, how
Mm,
nice.
that's
Yeah.
a clever man.
Yes, I'm so filled with surprises. And Wyatt, who are you on X?
I am at Mr. Woe, Misterwoe.
Huh, look at that. Look at your screen.
Oh my! You're
I'm good.
you are better than good.
So, in the last couple minutes of the show, I'd like for both of you to be promo homos. So, Wyatt, I understand that the kickoff of your show, and I've put your website up.
Thank you.
It's a hot topic. What's happening on Saturday when you kick off, and what time? What time does it become available to?
It drops 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm excited about the new season of Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Yes, Saturday's episode is something a little different that I've done before. The guest is Daddy DeMarco, and he has exploded across social media. He's very
So to
social
speak.
media savvy. Stop it. Stop it. But anyway, he has a legion of fans that call him the aggressive, dominant top of America.
I
Yes.
know there. I knew there was one out there. I just knew
Oh.
there was one out there.
I think he has the crown. He's done a lot of interviews before, but I'm really proud of this one because we do get adults only and explicit, but we also talk. I'm able to uncover the different sides of him because he's a multifaceted person and he's got some really important life lessons. So this is adults only. It's substantive. It's great. It's compelling. And it's Saturday at the Wyatt O'Brien Evans YouTube channel and Spotify.
Okay, then. So, our viewers are saying, and I have a long answer from Jorge, which I'm going to put on the screen. As Joy and others said, use your voice. Your vote is your voice. As another, oh, and then someone else said, shut up and don't complain if you don't vote. And Jorge has such a beautiful family, but that's for another show. I am sharing stories with whoever will listen, including those close to me, of how my life as a minority has been negatively affected since he was voted into office back in 2016. We all need to be worried and scared if we let this man back in office. Talk to your loved ones, friends, coworkers, and others about the importance of registering to vote and voting. Beautifully stated, Jorge.
Yep.
Robert, I would love for you, because it's your first time on the show, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your book and also your online store. And I've put in your websites up right now.
Okay, great. The books, there are actually 3 of them. It's a complete trilogy. It's called the Clubbed series, and it's basically 30 years of gay love, culture, and the story of how a relationship evolves over the course of that amount of time. So the 2 main characters are together for a very long time, and they are the owners of a club in Philadelphia that, it's fictionalized. And there are many, many queer characters that come and go, and there are many references to queer culture and history throughout the books. So I'm really proud of the work that I've done. I put a lot of effort into it, and I encourage people to check out either on Amazon or at your local bookstores. The Clubbed series, Clubbed, Club 2, and Club 3. They all have subtitles, but I won't get into all that. I want to quickly mention the clubpride.org. I never expected to open a store. It wasn't in my plans, but last June I got so upset when the right wing started protesting Pride And they were so emboldened that they would march into stores and destroy displays of Pride merchandise. And then, even worse, in my mind, were that some of those retailers responded by removing their Pride merchandise. And I thought, well, lots of times I can just speak about something, but here I want to take some actual action. And so I decided that I would open up a store and where people can shop freely for Pride and LGBTQ plus positive types of merchandise without fear of anyone bothering you while you're shopping. And I'm not going to bow to right-wing pressure or anything like that. I'm here to stay. And I just really started this, but I'm very pleased with the reception so far and the support that I've been getting. So anyone who's interested in looking at what I have to offer, this shirt is an example of what is available. It's clubpride.org, and I'd be happy to see people visit.
Well, go ahead, Wyatt.
And let me quickly say that as an author, everyone, Mr. Karl's Club series is a must read. It's poignant, it's powerful, it's compelling. It's all that and 2 bags of chips.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. We all need to support each other. So, Wyatt, I didn't ask you about your book in this broadcast, but so tell our viewers about your series of books, because I've gone over 30 minutes, but you guys are worth it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I write something called the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels, and the latest installment is Shattered. And essentially, it's the story of 2 men of color, one Black, one Latino, who fight to keep their monogamous relationship alive and thriving. They have to deal with the ghosts of intimate partner violence and abuse, a contentious father-son relationship. It has thrills and chills and substance and
sex.
And yes, it definitely has sex, hot sex, but that's just the icing on the cake.
As you like to say, sookie sookie now.
That's right, all sookie sookie now. So
Elk Whistle, aka Aaron Terry, says, I have that shirt and I love it. So clearly now Robert and I both want to know, is it my shirt or is it Robert's shirt, Aaron? We're not going to end this show until you tell us which of these shirts you have, and you better be careful with your answer. No, be honest. Be honest. Well, my life's purpose is to honor and express my creativity in a way that makes a difference, and I'm glad that you two are also creators. I also want to say to my audience, he's taking the safe answer, and I have no way of giving him the polygraph. Have no way of giving him a polygraph right now, but you can bet he's either going to be running to clubpride.org or hopefulsexual.com, depending upon which one of them he doesn't have.
I choose to believe him. I choose to believe him.
Oh, that he has both.
Yes.
And Rock has his PromoHomo.TV merch coming soon.
All right.
So this has been a fun, fantastic show. I really have loved our energy together, but I wanted to let the viewers know I want to have diverse voices on my show, and I've already addressed you can't address our issues too many times. So I want to make this an open forum for people from all walks of life, all colors, creeds,
representation is
gender,
so important.
yes,
and so
absolutely.
That outreach is really, I applaud you for that, and I look forward to seeing that on your show.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you all for participating. If you want to hang out and talk to me after the closing credits, you can. You don't have to. And for those of you watching at home, this is kind of in the groove of what I want this show to start becoming. And remember, I'm 2 degrees of separation from some of the biggest political names that you know. And the producer in me is working overtime to make this show relevant and powerful and impactful. And I can't do it without you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
safe place. I got